What's up, my honeys and my homies? Welcome to the Timeless Gamer Show, where our games and our bodies may grow out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain. It's timeless, y'all. And the show is now live in Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So for all of our archive episodes, you know where to go. Just check out our YouTube channel, that's Timeless Gamer Show, or just by going to the website, that's timelessgamers.com. And you can still listen to us talk by going to your sites where you get your usual podcast. We're all there. We are everywhere. Oh, and for all of your suggestions, comments, and insults, just send them send all of them. Talentsgamers.show at gmail.com. Talentsgamers at gmail.com. All right. And of course, we would like to take this opportunity to give our appreciation to BitMap Books and Streamyard. All right, for making this, for allowing us to be their affiliates, of course, and of course, Shuffle Emporium for your trading cards and your anime-related goods. ShuffleEmporium.com, everyone. And of course, previously on the Timeless Gamer Show, we had a wonderful time um interviewing Sir Mark Anthony representing One Up Quest. So, for all of you guys who missed that episode, you know what to do. You know where to go. For this episode, we are just resuming our Xbox documentary, Power On: The Story of Xbox, warranted by Microsoft themselves. All right, it's a YouTube documentary series, each 30 to 40 minutes long, total of 6 episodes. Like what, four, at least 4 hours straight if you have the time to spare. Hey, so this will be the part two where we left off. All right. So for the panel for this evening, we got Sir Jose.
Hey guys, we're here to finish off the 4-hour review of the documentary. So it's going to get more exciting, probably a little angry. So we'll see what happens.
All right, talking about finish. Ooh, and how about Sir JDM?
Hello everyone, happy Saturday, and I hope you enjoyed your 4th of July breaks, and welcome back to the Timeless Gaming Show for the um, Xbox documentary.
When it
I mean,
all comes me down and it hurts inside. Sir Joel.
What's going on?
well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are. This is Joel Baklit of the Manyaging Native page. Very, very excited and happy to have you guys here again to watch the rest of our review on the Power On documentary about Microsoft Xbox. We'll learn a little bit more about history and about how things happened back then and how they're affecting things now. Back to you, Joe.
And speaking about freeing and liberating away from those bloody redcoats, Sir Viraj.
I don't even know why I'm here. They just told me so I'll come. That's the reason I'm here. All right.
Mm.
But, yeah, it should be an interesting show. Be very informative and interesting to sort of talk about Microsoft and where they're going now. You know, in terms of a console manufacturer and a video game developer. But yeah, should be fun.
All right. He likes to talk about being a member of the blue team, but he likes playing the red team, talking about the green team. All
Mhm.
right. Thank you for that, Sir Viraj. And of course, returning back to the show, Sir Richard.
Yes, good evening, everyone, or say good day, everyone. Ryan here again. And of course, during the past 2 weeks, I've been trying to research more about the Xbox 360. And as a running joke before the start of the show, I have a beef roast with Xbox 360 or roast beef, depending on how
Mhm.
you want to view it.
We do like our
Anyway, let's
roast.
do our best today.
Yeah.
Beefing and roasting. All right. So the last time we left the show, we talked about the genesis of the haha, genesis of the Xbox, talking about the people responsible for creating the system, the ups and downs, the troubles of its production, and the actual release of the damn thing. Now, for this episode, it's mainly about episode 4, episode 5, episode 6 of Xbox. Mainly the Xbox 360, the release of Halo, the Kinect, the Xbox One, Game Pass, and of course, the Series X. So, we are now giving it to Sir Jose.
All right. Let's see. We covered the first three chapters, and now we're on number four. It was titled "Cool Now What." They were trying to fix and finish Halo, the introduction of Xbox Live and gamer tags, the Xbox 360, and achievements. My first question for everyone is: if Halo had missed the launch of the original Xbox, would it have been successful?
Well, I
So,
would say. All right. Let's hear Viraj go first. All right. Go ahead, Viraj.
I'll tell you why, because I was there all those years ago working in the shop when that sixth generation was there, and I remember when really we all know PS2 won that generation by a landslide, but if it wasn't for Halo, which was the killer app, that's the reason people bought the thing, and people buy it with that game. That was it. That's what they buy it with. That was the only reason it did well. Because let's be blunt here, the Xbox was an avenue for those people who wanted the best graphics. It was the most graphically powerful system of its time when it came out. At 733 megahertz clock speed, it was the most powerful system as well, as opposed to PlayStation 2's 285 megahertz and GameCube's 485 megahertz, which it ran at. The Xbox was the most powerful system. Had a hard drive. It was an avenue for PC gamers to go a bit more casual, as an avenue for people who wanted to play the most graphically powered games on this thing. In fact, a lot of Sega fans jumped on the Xbox. They wanted the graphics. That's what Sega were really good at in terms of when they put out a new system, they put the best technology into it. That's the truth. And a lot of them jumped on the Xbox. There were a lot of great Sega ports on there as well. Outrun 2, Panzer Dragon Auto, which is a new game they put on that as well. There were lots of great games on this device, not just the Sega stuff, but the first party. We look at Bungie software, what Microsoft put out with Halo. It was a big deal. It was a big deal then, and Halo is still one of their main things. We've got this new show on Amazon. I don't know if it's any good or not, but it's there. It's a staple to Microsoft. We associate Microsoft with Halo because it's what it started with, and it's what made people want to buy it. Because when people saw those graphics and saw that game, there was nothing quite like it, and it could not be run on a PlayStation. It can't be run on a GameCube. It was an Xbox exclusive, and it was outstanding. And Microsoft needed Halo, and Halo needed Microsoft, and it worked. It was a marriage made, and it worked. And people bought that game, and it was. I remember, when a game goes really well, it can go platinum on PlayStation. On Xbox, it was called Xbox Classics, and it came as part of the Xbox Classics because it sold over 1 million titles or whatever. So, Halo was a success for what it was because of the Microsoft and vice versa. I would say that's my thoughts on that. But without Halo, I don't think. Well, what other killer apps were there on the Microsoft Xbox when it came out? There were a few that were interesting, okay, but there was nothing that really stood out apart from that game that I can really think of. I mean, what was there? Blinks the Time Sweeper, we got Munchie's Odyssey, like these are games that were good and exclusive to what it was. It wasn't a system, it wasn't really you buy a system. That Halo was the system pusher. It was the seller for the system. That's what it was. And you need something like that. That was a killer app for Xbox. There, I'll rest my case.
And I kind of tend to agree with Viraj on this one. Every console needs a killer app once
Mm.
it launches. Every console needs something that will say, I need to buy that console just for that game,
Mm.
especially during launch. If you don't have that, it's pretty much a death sentence for the console itself. For Game Boy, it was Tetris. You got to play Tetris on the original Game Boy. For the original Famicom, it was Super Mario Brothers was one of the things. But in this case, with Xbox, it definitely was Halo. Without Halo, the other launch titles would not have possibly been as successful. Like Viraj did say, the only things that might have been marginally as interesting as Halo, even about half as interesting, would probably be something like Project Gotham Racing. And Lord
Yeah.
knows that there's very few of us racing game fanatics that would actually buy a system just for a racing game. I mean, nowadays people might with Forza Horizon, but not anymore. Not back then. So even overall, any console needs one killer app for it to at least have a fighting chance in the arena. So yes, I completely agree with Barrage on this one. Back to you, Jose.
All right. Well, did anyone else want to give their thoughts or?
I think. Look, I know. Sorry, is there anyone? I'll give extra thought to mine, which is in regards to Project Gotham. Again, that was also a very successful game. That went Xbox Classic as well, as I recall. There are a number of what I call slow burners that became successful gradually as the system trudged along. Um, However, it was a system that was known for its graphics. That's what it was. And what I did find is even though it had games that the PlayStation had or the GameCube had, 'cause there were a lot of multi-format releases, it was the exclusives for that system that would leave the. Because I had a meter of game shelves. It was always the exclusives only for that system myself. Everything else would just go into the clearance bin because all the third-party stuff just wasn't as successful, sadly. It was exclusives that did well for that system. I just want to put that across from what I witnessed from selling the Xbox and PlayStation side by side because they had about the same sort of meterage base. The GameCube sadly didn't have that, and I ended up having to sell the GameCube stock as clearance in the end. But with Microsoft Xbox and PS2, it was those exclusives that really pushed the graphics. The key thing, the graphics and look of that system, what it was capable of. And I realized it was for the elite gamer who wanted the best graphics and the best looking games and the system that would actually be a complement to the system because the system could perform those games at that quality. And you could see the difference in graphics on Xbox to PlayStation. You could tell the difference. That's how much of a gap there was. You could argue there wasn't much in it with the third party stuff, but with whatever the Microsoft Xbox exclusives had, they did look very pretty. I just want to add that as well. Yeah, back to you. Those are my additional thoughts on what I had to say.
All right. So the Xbox had LAN capabilities. Did you guys ever use LAN capabilities if you played the original Xbox, or did you guys ever take part in LAN parties on the PC?
Oh,
Outrun two.
yeah,
Outrun two.
definitely. Yeah.
Player.
Well, definitely LAN parties on PC, but consoles no.
No.
No, I never really did. Um, One thing about a lot of video game players is, well, I'm not. I can't say I can't speak for everybody, but a lot of video game players hate people. You know, we don't really interact. We don't really like interacting with a lot of people. We only interact with a select few people that we trust. We have friends. We have groups of friends. But you were talking about total stranger. It takes a little moment for us to warm up to a complete stranger online. But when we do, you get, like that meme says, I trust you with every single cell of my body. So it's kind of like a magical kind of thing where you don't really play with people unless you want to play with them and you choose to play with them. And in the LAN case, back in the Philippines, it was a little bit different because the PCs we had what they called cyber cafes, and cyber cafes were everywhere during that time. People would go to cyber cafes. They were basically milling points where you would play games like Counter Strike, you would play games like Battle Realms, you would play games like Rainbow Six Rogue Spear, and you would form clans where you would run tournaments and everything. Consoles really didn't have that back then unless you brought your console to a somebody's house and you actually hooked everything up. And the thing about it is back then it wasn't really a thing back in the Philippines. I can't really say much for other
Yeah.
countries, but yeah, the Philippines really didn't have that. Other people here in the panel might have a different experience.
Um,
Viraj, Jose.
I do. I had a friend, and he had an Xbox, and I had another friend on an Xbox, and they invited me around. They're going to do Outrun 2, Garage. You're going to Outrun 2. 8-player. Not even 8-player. This is a 4-player console. And there's no one going to hook 2 consoles up. And how does that work? And they did it. And we played Outrun 2 on that LAN thing, and it worked through the game. It was beautiful. It was so much fun. I got a bit jealous because like there were only 2 wheels and pedals, and I had to get a controller. But hey, listen, beggars can't be choosers, right? But it was a lot of fun, and I suppose I can speak from. I think really you need to have some good friends, and I think that's what Joel's trying to say. Like I wouldn't say we hate people, but if you have people that you love or you get on with, and I do have a lot of care for the friends who aren't really in my life anymore. They've gone their separate ways since that time, but I do cherish that memory of playing Outrun 2 and the LAN party. It's so much fun when you're basically on one couch and playing this thing on a big TV at the time, even though you couldn't really see much. But it's still a lot of fun. But yeah, I think Joel, you're kind of right in the sense that not a lot of people did this. I was just very lucky to be privileged enough to do that, or be part of that group of people that were into that sort of thing. LAN parties or co-op aspect is not something that a lot of people took part in. Most gamers are single player playing these things, and with the Xbox, I think it was like the first real system. This just bridges on to the next thing I think we want to go on to is the Xbox Live and playing online. And at the time, out of the 3 systems, I sort of forget, it was the best online platform because you were playing on a dedicated server and lag was virtually non-existent compared to PlayStation 2. If you're PS2 online and you got the modem for it, you slot into that little bay, you would have lag because it's peer-to-peer. And that was an issue. And with GameCube, even though you had a LAN socket and you could play Mario Kart Double Dash, which was like the only game, and I never played it, but I know it's possible to put 2 GameCubes and the same thing we did with that one too, with Mario Kart Double Dash. That was a lot of fun. Nobody did it. Like, is 4 players enough? That was it, because it's just another game you have to buy, and the other person has it. Who knows somebody's going to do that? And it's the same with the Microsoft Xbox, like I said, with the LAN thing. I knew 2 people that had it. And I think if you're going to have a LAN party, it'll be someone who's into PC gaming, and that person would obviously have an Xbox, and another person have an Xbox. It's going to happen because they know how to hook these things up, because it can be a bit complex and jarring. Whereas with these other more casual consoles, PlayStation 2 and GameCube, it wasn't much of LAN parties or online gaming wasn't really a thing. Only the Microsoft solution offered proper online gaming for that generation, and that's a very important point I'd like to raise. I mean, Sega might have started it with the Dreamcast, but Microsoft really did perfect it. You just had to pay for it. And that's where Microsoft sort of really did well, is the online domain and playing with your friends over the internet, which is fun, or randoms, which is something that Joel doesn't like doing, is playing with friends, but it's one of those things. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on the LAN thing. But it was a lot of fun playing that one too, 8-player on the Xbox. A lot of fun.
All right, back to you, Jose.
Yeah, for me, I remember we would meet up at someone's house, and 3 people would bring their big ass CRT TVs and their Xboxes and as many controllers as they had, and we'd sit like in a living room with TVs on folding tables in each corner, and just there'd be a 4v4v4v4, and then I remember doing that a bunch of times, but it was only ever with Halo. It was never anything else. But it was lots of fun. It was just cumbersome having to carry all that stuff around. I remember having to take my Xbox and all my controllers, and then we'd go to my other friend's house and get his TV because it was the easiest to be able to grab and go.
What is the old meme, JDM, about modern TVs? If you're carrying a modern TV, you'd better be careful setting it down. But with the CRT, when you set it down, you better be careful not to smash your fingers, the table, and the floor, or something like that, right?
Yeah, I've seen it a lot in retro tech groups. So you
Yeah.
can build muscles actually, your bicep and triceps.
True. This is true.
Setting
I'm
up
a
this
skinny guy
CRT.
now. I'm a skinny guy now, but back then I worked in an electronics shop and I had to lift TVs and 32 inches. You try lifting one of those things, goodness me, you'd have like muscles by the end of the week when you're putting them in people's cars. But what I would say about LAN parties, and this is the sort of drawback, I suppose the drawback, which is split screen gaming in general. You can barely see anything on the screens. TVs weren't as big as they are now. We're spoiled with screens that we got. I've got a 65-inch in my living room. That was a dream back in the mid 2000s. You know, who can get TV that big? So you know, seeing what you had on that screen, you've got like it's split into four on that side, and you've got another TV there or whatever. But you've only got a very small viewing angle. So whilst it's fun that you're all together, it's a fun social activity. You can trash talk each other and whatever. Um, it's very the detail just isn't there. And I think with going forward from LAN gaming, online gaming, when you've got your own dedicated TV monitor, we can see everything like I am now. And your friend has something or whatever, and you talk through the mic and the headphones. That's a lot more fun. And I think, yeah, LAN parties, whilst it was a very niche thing, it was fun, but you know, online gaming and Xbox Live really was what a lot of people experienced with the Xbox um, with the Let's Play device and all that stuff.
How about you, Sir JDM? Speaking of, what can you say about
Yeah.
Halo and the LAN parties?
By the way, we have this comment from Jominton here in the chats. He said that console LAN parties are almost non-existent here in the Philippines. The culture is whoever has the consoles back then, we go to that house and party. So
Mm.
yeah, I remember this because I am one of those fortunate kids who had the consoles back in the 2000s, and um my friends would flock at our house playing those co-op games. Yeah. So virtually there's no LAN parties because there's only one console. But we had fun having couch co-ops. You can never replace that because you have your friends around. It's not like when you're doing online multiplayer. It's just you in front of your screen talking to a microphone. So you don't have the camaraderie that comes with people going to your house. And also um I guess the reason why Halo was a selling point is people wanted to have fast-paced action. When you're playing that much, when you die, you can easily come back, respawn, and um, get some revenge to those who have fragged you. Uh, and yeah, it's like playing. Let's see, playing Quake 3 Arena and what do you call this other games? You can do that on Halo. And unfortunately for me, I didn't know about the Xbox back in the early 20s. Yeah, it would have been fun. I could have been hooked to um, multiplayer games i- if I had the Xbox.
I mean, it was definitely the more expensive of the three systems at the time. I'll say UK prices. So towards the end of 2002, I think the GameCube had dropped from like it was 129.99, which is ridiculously cheap, and it went down to 89.99 for a console. The GameCube was very cheap. The PS2 was 169.99, and when it dropped from 200 or 199 to 169, it sold like anything. The Xbox was 199.99. Like it dropped, but to 199, it stayed at 199.99, and they just could not compete. Like just couldn't lower it anymore. I mean, eventually they did lower it, but it's like by then it's too late. And I think Sony had just really won that console war. And let's not forget, it had a DVD player in the console, just like the Sony PlayStation did. You know, just it had that in there, so they were systems that could compete with each other. And let's not forget, PlayStation only had two controller socket ports, whereas the Microsoft Xbox had four. So it was actually had a lot more technology. And if you look at the size of the system, it was built like a tank. It was huge. It was heavy. I remember having to carry it for a customer, and because there was a hard drive in there, 40 GB hard drive in there as well. So there's a lot more technology in this thing. And if you look at the paper, it was actually the best. It was actually the best spec system out there. And for the money you got, it's actually a nice system. It's just, I think if it had more games, it would have probably, or it had more exclusives or games that people wanted. It probably would have shifted more units because Halo only appeals to one demographic, one group of people who like FPS style games, or want that graphical showpiece. So I think Microsoft, they struggled with Sony because they weren't going after the casual gamer. That's what I would say. I think they were more for the online PC game or the people who want the high tech stuff. And I think they were happy with that, to be honest, with what they had achieved with it. But it could have been a much more successful system had the price probably been more competitive. But that being said, I don't think they could have made it more competitive because of the technology that was packed into that device. And also, if it had just a lot more games that appealed to a vast range of people. Where PlayStation 2 won, it just had the games. I think that's the deal. I don't think it's the best system. I think GameCube Microsoft is much better than the PlayStation 2. Even when you look at the controllers, I think they're better controllers, albeit minus the first Xbox controller because that was a juggernaut. It's only when they redesigned it, the Xbox S controller. But that being said, I've never really been a fan of the PlayStation analog stick being at the bottom, but everybody seems to have gotten used to it now. But PlayStation just had the software; it just had such a vast library because everything for everyone, and it was at the right price point, and that's why it's supposed to be the highest grossing game console in sales of all time. But I think Microsoft did well for what they did. I'll tell you this from memory. It was that first Christmas in 2002, 23rd December. I was tasked to sell PlayStations and consoles for that Christmas. I sold 28 PlayStation 2s that day, and 3 Xboxes and 3 GameCubes, 3 Game Boy Advance. That was just how much of a big deal PlayStation was. How could Microsoft be, really, if you look at it in regards to what Sony had? But 3 systems, it sold 3 on that day. 3 people were happy and they got the Xboxes for Christmas from the shop I worked at. So that was just my experience for that one day. But it just didn't sell as much as PlayStation 2 from those things. But does it make it a poor system or a failed system? No, because it had its own unique selling points and it had its own greatness about it. It was the online live, the fact that you could put games on the hard drive as well, and the fact they had some really good exclusive graphically enhanced games that you couldn't get anywhere. So that's just my thoughts on the first Xbox.
How about you, Sir Richard? What can you say about Halo and any experiences with the LAN party?
That's also something also new to me because uh, because that time I was unable to have a Xbox. The only console I have that time was a PS1 or a PlayStation 1. So that's actually something I felt I could relive it, and at the same time, that time LAN are limited only to internet cafe. So
Mm.
the nearest I can think of is Counter Strike in terms of LAN game, but console LAN, just like one of our viewer mentioned a while ago, is quite challenging because, especially for the network and the cost of setting a LAN party is huge. It's just like setting a just like setting an internet cafe, and it's at the same time Xbox is quite new, so few people are brave enough to take it. That's on my side.
Right. On my case, Halo is Halo is a very curious case. So what? Xbox came out in 2001. So you would imagine they would have, I mean, Microsoft or the Xbox team would have done their research. Okay, what games should we include in our launch? What were the games back in 2000 back in the 2000s, late 90s and the early 2000s? I mean, what were the genres to have? The RPGs were put on the map.
Mm.
The stealth games, survival horror, platformers. Those are your major ones, right? And my guess would be okay. Microsoft is a PC. What are the games that we usually play in the PC? And oh, would you know it? First person shooters. Okay. What do we have in our inventory that we can exploit as a first person shooter on launch. So Bungie said, we got Halo here. Sure, okay, let's bet on Halo. And as far as the land parties is concerned, uh, the very concept of a video game console, using it as a LAN device. If you're going to ask me, like what, 20 years ago, I would say you're out of your mind. It's usually for PCs, right? That feature is usually just uh, for uh, for personal computers, and besides, you need high speed internet connection for that, and this was like late 90s, early 2000s. We don't have that much of a broadband connection in the Philippines at the time, right? Uh,
We had
unless, of
broadband
course,
like
unless,
already mid 2000s. It's very
yeah.
late.
What? We're still using dial up. We're still using the ISP cards, right? Unless not everyone has Buy-and-Tel or PLDT or ZPD connections,
What?
right? Anyways, back to you, Sir Jose.
All right. Well, speaking of online and all that stuff, um, Xbox was one of the first console, or one of the first consoles to really jump into online gaming. They introduced Xbox Live, having gamer tags, usernames, all that stuff. What was your guy? Well, go, Sir Joel. What was your first experience with online gaming? Not just the Xbox, but anything.
Mm.
Poker.
On the first, first experience with online gaming was, well, I would say Ultima Online. Definitely, it was Ultima Online, and yeah, playing some of those MMOs back in the day. Of course, it was a very PC kind of thing. Although I would say I guess the thing about online gaming, or massively multiplayer online gaming as it was back in the day, was that there was the excitement of meeting new people and making connections with people who thought the same way that you did and had the same experiences that you did as well. So for the PC, it was relatively easy because the PC architecture for multiplayer was basically built around the idea that you were supposed to be playing with other people. I think the genesis of the idea of network back then was that you wanted to set it up not just to talk to people but also to play with them with the PC. I could be completely off base on this one, but I imagine that most programmers back then who were trying to set up networking capabilities for PC wanted, one of the most fundamental things was for you to be able to play a game of chess with somebody clear across the country. And that was basically the seminal genesis of how multiplayer was. Now, massively multiplayer online role playing game, Ultima Online, I got to try that. It was a blast talking to people, speaking to somebody, saying, "Hey, I'm from the Philippines. Where are you from? Oh, I'm over here in Ohio," something like that. And we would talk about how things were different or how things were the same. Now, as it went forward into consoles, I guess the first console multiplayer experience I had was likely more on the Dreamcast side. I got to try it on the Dreamcast. It was quite fun. It was the excitement of trying out something new in a console that really propelled it. And I would say on the Xbox, I really didn't get to play multiplayer online gaming on a console until I hit the PS4, I'd say. So I would say I lost out on the experience of the Xbox, or the original Xbox and the Xbox 360. But I did hear, especially according to the documentary that we're discussing right now, that it really took off back in the 360 era. I hear that the Xbox 360 was the platform for online gaming. From what I did learn in the Xbox, and I really wish that I was there during that time. I really wish that I was there during the time of the Xbox 360. I can honestly say that I missed out on it. I really wish that I could travel back in time and get to play the heyday of the Xbox 360 and massively multiplayer online gaming, especially on a console. So I would have to rely on you, Jose, to tell me what the experience was of being on a 360 and being able to play multiplayer games on an Xbox 360 console.
It was a crazy time. Like I honestly like you said, like we really don't like people. So I would play online, but I would never talk to anyone because it was either someone hella stupid talking or just like the most racist things being said. And I'm just like I'll play with you, but I'm not interacting. Like I can't do that. Like
Th-
I,
that's why they put the disclaimer, what they call this, what they say, um rating is different when you're playing single player and
Oh yes,
multiplayer.
yes, that's true.
Mm.
That's true. I do remember that. Yeah, that they would give a different rating for your single
Nine.
player experience as opposed to the multiplayer experience. Yes, I do remember that
Isn't that
one.
the whole point of it? Like trash talking online? I mean,
I
Yes.
don't
isn't
know.
that the whole point of the headset that they came up with?
Well, part
I
of
mean,
There,
part of
all
part.
right. So let's
Go
just
ahead, Joe.
imagine we're all playing Mario Kart, right?
Mhm.
So are we seriously going to trash each other by just typing, "Oh, you're gay, Viraj," like that?
hey, well that's not trash talking. That's the truth.
There you go. Well, that's it.
Boom. Well, now
Personal.
on Mario Kart World, I do a lot of trash talking because the game chat and it's a lot of fun actually. But I think there is a joy of just talking to people online and having a bit of banter. And I think obviously Microsoft was the first console to do that, but you did pay a hefty sum of money for Xbox Live when it was first released, to be honest. And it was for that.
Mhm.
Obviously, the packages got cheap. You could have a 3 months live subscription or a 12 months, and that was the birth of sort of subscription-based gaming, and it was the online element, wasn't it? But you were paying for a service with their dedicated servers. It wasn't peer-to-peer, like I said earlier. It was actually a very well-made, thought-out thing, and that was, one thing I'll give Microsoft credit for is they carved that in console gaming. It forced Sony to follow suit with not PlayStation 3 because that was still peer to peer. That was like first peer to peer, but then they actually finally launched their own service on the PS4. So Microsoft were actually early on that whole Xbox Live thing from the get go with their first system and the 360. Uh,
Mhm.
Going forward with all their others, so they've been consistent with the online play and the online. The online has been better than all their competitors. I would even argue now it still is better because they've had so many years of perfecting it. It's just that subscription-based model has been fatigued, and they've obviously added that to other things like Game Pass and all these other things. And we all know how you can't rely on that model exclusively. And I kind of feel that's the problem Microsoft have now. If you fast forward to the Xbox Series X, and obviously with the terrible news that we had a few weeks ago, and it's
Mhm.
sad. I wouldn't want anyone to lose their job, especially in this industry, and it is very competitive out there. But Microsoft just made the wrong decisions. We're not talking about the acquisition of Activision and Blizzard, which hasn't been as fruitful as they thought it would be. And it's the fact that they made blunder after blunder with removing their exclusives. Like, what's the point of having a system if you've got no exclusives? What's the
Mhm.
point? And that's the bottom line at the end of the day. I think that's what hurt me a bit. Like, not that I have an Xbox Series X. I have dear friend who does, who is around the corner. But you got, okay, they've got great platforms, but they just don't have software which are exclusive, will be exclusive anymore. And to us, it's not the quality or the kind of mix of software the average person can buy. It's a very niche thing now because Sony have all the other exclusives that people want to play.
Mhm.
Sony have got it, and Nintendo have their own thing that people love as well. But what have Microsoft got that people? And it's
Well,
the key word here,
I,
love.
mhm.
Love is the key word here. Microsoft are joyless in terms of the software.
I'll address that in a moment, Viraj. But I want to take a tangent on what Jose said about the racist things being said on Xbox Live and everything. No, 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 no. This is something that I've observed about the difference between gamers and regular folk. And
Mm,
sometimes when you think about it, between the difference, one of the fundamental differences between male thinking and female thinking, when as males and as gamers, the more we like you, the more we insult you playfully, because of the fact that we consider it as a form of our affection to you. The closer we are, the more we understand that we can banter with each other, the more that we understand that we can step beyond a few boundaries, because of the fact that we our boundaries are much closer. There's an old saying: men insult each other, but we will die for each other, whereas
mm,
women will compliment each other, but will stab each other in the back. So
yeah.
it's a little bit of a thing that I've kind of observed in terms of men and in terms of gamers. Let's face it, gaming back in the day and maybe up to today is still very much predominantly a male focused endeavor. Some would say that the gaming figures skew towards the women nowadays because more than 50% of gamers are women, but that's factoring in mobile gaming.
Yes.
People who play Candy Crush, people who play, all these mobile games that are geared
Mm,
towards casual gaming, and that brings in a lot of the women. But hardcore gamers are very much still male dominated. So the thing about us men is that we can insult each other to our faces. But when that guy steps away from you, you say that's the best dude that I've ever met. And it's
mm,
kind of the thing that we'll always have as gamers and as men, that
mm.
you might go into a Microsoft server and hear insults left and right about your race, about your gender,
Well,
about your looks, but
I
in the end of it,
I
it
get
will
accused of
be
being a
because
homosexual all the time, but you know,
yes, exactly. We love you, Viraj. That's why we call
I,
you, all these names. But
I,
yes, that's how it is.
but but yes, exactly that thing, and yeah, you're absolutely quite right. Although in regards to man and female demographics, I don't know one female who owns an Xbox. It is definitely a man's console. It's a
Mm,
master system. I think that's one thing about it that's really interesting. I think PC gaming predominantly is very macho as well. If you look
very
at that,
much.
not to
Yes.
say that there aren't women that play PC games. There's a lot of them that do streaming and things like that, but it's predominantly a male-dominated demographic that are into these sort of circles on the Microsoft side of things.
Hmm.
But yeah, to trash talk and play with people online is a joy. It's fun. It is a
And it's
fun.
part of the strategy when you're in a game. I mean, all's fair in love and war. When you go into a battle, especially in a first person battle, one of your objectives is to win. Well, actually, your main objective is to win, and one of your objectives is to win by rattling the other guy. Now, if you can rattle his cage and get a tactical advantage against him by saying something like, "Oh, dude, your fly is unzipped," or something like that, then he'll look down for a moment and you get a headshot. Or you
Yeah.
say something along the lines. That's still a tactical advantage. And if an insult will do the same thing, it's still a tactical advantage and you will still get the win. But at the end of it, you will say, good game, toughen up. You might be better next time. So that's kind of like how what's the old saying? Iron sharpens iron. You get better the harder you do it. You know, the harder you put yourself against it, shall we say.
So interesting. I know we're going. Well, it was a metaphor there. You get better the
Hmm.
harder you do it. So yeah, I know
Hmm.
what you
Yeah.
mean.
I'll go to your house and beat you square.
So,
Exactly. Something like that.
I think it's
Men get better by challenging each other, shall we say. That's kind of like a general truism in terms of humans. But particularly for men, we challenge each other, we get better. And part of the challenging is, shall we say, making sure that you toughen up,
mm,
buttercup,
I mean, I would often say that out of those three systems, the online aspect, if you want to play with people across the world, that the Xbox was there, the first Xbox. And I'd always say with the Nintendo solution, that was kind of like your fun party game catch co-op system. If you want to play on your own and get into an in-depth game, that was the PlayStation solution, and that's how I often used to start off with talking with customers, and they were interested in what's right for me, what do I want to do. I said, well, are you, do you like playing with other people? How do you play with other people? Do you want to play on your own? What sort of games are you into? And then most people do. You're actually quite right when you said at the start of the talk, most people like to play on their own. And that's why the PlayStation has a lot of games you like to play on your own. You just get lost in. Not to say that those games aren't applicable to have multiplayer applications, but if you're looking at couch co stuff like Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, that's a really good fun party game experience. You can play that online now, and Nintendo offers that. And then you have like Microsoft, and they've got these hardcore FPS games like Gears of War that came on later on, and that's the third person shooter. But they had all these sort of games you could play online, so many of them, and they had the platform and the service to enjoy these online plays. I'm not just talking Halo. I think they had Medal of Honor. They had so, you have a lot of fun online play. I think Microsoft have pioneered that online aspect. The problem they've faced in recent years, like I explained earlier, just like when PlayStation 4 came out, and if you look retrospectively, do you guys remember just before PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One was being released, they were talking about you'd buy the game and the disc would then record itself to that system and it couldn't be played on any other system. Do you remember that? They were going to just keep it locked to that, lock the game so you couldn't resell that game. And I remember both Microsoft and Sony were both off for saying that's the way it's going to be. And then Sony scrapped it and they said, well, actually, we're not going to do that anymore. So then the PlayStation 4 did great and the Microsoft didn't scrap it, or then in the end they scrapped it, but it was too late. And when the PlayStation 4 came out, it was just a runaway success. The problem with the first Xbox series, well, Xbox Ones, is they had some faults as well. So that was really bad. And that's where Sony sort of hit back with the PS4 because the 360 still had a decent market share at the time because of the pricing that they made for it. But, I'll always remember that it's something Sony had, and also they had perfected their online game. They had their own service, the PS Online, and they've finally done what Microsoft had been doing for a while, and they offered that same thing that Microsoft had, and they had a lot more exclusives for PS4 as well. And with the PlayStation 5 also being backwards compatible with the 4, Sony have sort of really hit Microsoft, and they are literally at head-to-head and at loggerheads with each other. But now that Sony are offering pretty much the same sort of services that Microsoft are, what is that? What can Microsoft do that's different? And that's the difficult aspect of it, and that's what they're really struggling with right now. Like, what are they really offering gamers that's different to what Sony are offering? Nintendo, they're offering something different. They're offering something different with the Switch, whether you like it or not. It's something different. But what is
And
Microsoft offering that's different now?
I have a quick question actually here for Ryan and for JDM.
Hmm.
The our two panelists who haven't had too much time on stream yet, but I wanted to ask these two. What during that era? I think we're kind of moving into episode 5 already here of the documentary, which is the Xbox 360 era. What were you guys playing during that time, during those years? What systems were you guys into? I know JDM might have been more into the PC section. I want to hear what Ryan was playing during that era. What year was that again? Around what year was that? Joe, the Xbox 360 launch,
2005.
2005. JDM and Ryan. I want to hear what you guys were playing during around 2005.
Okay, for me, I have my actually I still have my computer right there in the closet. It's more like black and white. Uh, Command and Conquer
Hmm.
is a little bit late. When even though I'm a gamer, when I try to play a game like 2005 is a little bit uh, quite quite old. Like something that you can get in Capo, those parted one and play it on your PC.
Quiapo. I love the place. Okay.
Yes, those are type of things, and of course a little bit of uh, a PlayStation One. So PlayStation One, then the PC at the back,
Mhm.
and uh, and of course everything in between. There are a
Were
lot
you at
of games that
all?
time.
Yeah, were you at
Um,
all familiar with the Xbox 360 during that era, Ryan?
ah, a little.
A little. You've heard about it. You've seen it in advertisements. You've seen it in magazines and everything like that. Was it something that really got your attention, or was it something that you really wanted to try, or was it just one of those things in the background that kind of said that you kind of said, I'll give it a shot sometime in the future, but not right now.
Yeah, the latter one, something in the future. Uh,
Hmm.
because for Xbox 360, it's because of Xbox 360. I get to know uh, almost 3 games because of
Mm.
Xbox 360. State of Decay,
State of Decay, yes.
Trench or Iron Brigade,
Hmm. Okay.
and of course, one of my favorite game, Command and Conquer 3. Those are
Nice.
those are the 3 games that caught my attention. And of
Hmm.
course, with trivia,
Are you talking about Common
right here in
Red Alert, or are we talking Command and Conquer 3 Tiberian War?
I think it was Red Alert,
Tiberian,
wasn't it? Oh, Tiberian. Okay, there you go.
yes, Command
Okay.
Conquer Command Conquer 3. I still have it here on my PC.
Yeah.
I have both the pirated version and the Steam version.
No,
Not pirated, unofficial version. Okay.
it's not the one where they went to space.
That's
Oh,
Yeah,
was it?
you got the characters from Battlestar Galactica in there, the actors from those. They had some AAA actors in those games. They had some top notch acting in there. And
Yeah,
from House was in it. They had some good actors in Command Conquer 3 and Red Alert 3. Love
you
those
have
games.
that's the one with Tim Curry, right?
Oh no, no. Red Alert 3 was Tim
But,
Curry.
but
Yeah, that was
Tim
great.
Curry
Yeah.
and
the
George
space.
Takei was even there. George Takei was there.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my, yeah, he
Oh
was in
yeah.
it.
Oh my. Yes.
Yeah, he was really good. But you had some great actors in them, but I was never really a fan of what happened with Westwood when he took them over. I still like the two and Tiberian Sun a bit more, but they're still good games.
No, but Red Alert 3 really knocked it out of the sun in terms of cheese, in terms of camp, in terms of like we're talking like so much complete, unadulterated,
The fact
just
that
plain
David
fun.
Hasselhoff is at the end of that game is hilarious.
Mm.
But you had like really, they had AAA actors now. They've grown into being very successful.
Oh yes.
Like Ackerman's in what's his name? The guy who played the president. He's like everywhere now. He's in Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
You got yeah, you got. I don't want to go on about this too much. But you got Jonathan Price. He was in Game of Thrones, the High Sparrow. He's a AAA actor. He had some great acting talent
Oh,
there.
getting to JDM though, around 205, JDM, what system were you playing then, and were you interested in what Microsoft was offering back then?
Um, 2005. I'm busy with Neverwinter Nights, which is
Mm-hmm.
great because it has multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was not really into Sergio M10 said here MMORPG. It wasn't really a massive online RPG, but um, I think the one Jonathan is talking about is here he enumerated actually it's Ragnarok. You have those Ran and MU. The ones I'm playing is a Western RPG, so it has modules that create that were created by fans because you have this like a toolkit where you could create your own campaigns, just like tabletop games. So while people are playing with Halo 2, getting their Xbox Live, I was busy with Neverwinter Nights. Um, there was Neverwinter Nights 2 in 2006, but people are still playing Neverwinter Nights on their PCs. And that was actually the first time I played online because we already have at least broadband internet then. And by the way, guys, I'm just curious since we're talking about online gamer tags. What were your first gamer tags
That
if you
was my
remember?
question too. I was gonna ask, what was your gamer
Just
tag,
curious.
and is it still the same after all these years?
Well, let's see. Seeing as how I really never got into Microsoft until this current generation, I mean Xbox until this current generation, which is the Series X, much to my regret, I only created a gamer tag with my daughter, and it was a combination of something that she and I were interested in. Back then, she was hugely into unicorns, and I'm a huge Transformers fan. So yeah, my gamer tag back then was a combination. It's Unicron. It's unicorn with a misspelling of unicorn. UNIC Unicron 313. That's my gamer tag. I think that's how it was created or something of the sort. But yeah, 313 being my home address. But yeah, I would say I'm completely unfamiliar with the gamer tag. What's the right word for it? What with the gamer tag etiquette. So what's there is there. I'm not even sure if you can change it. Can you, Jose?
You can, but it's like $10.
Mm, okay.
Or if you get enough of your friends to report your gamer tag as inappropriate, they'll do it for
Hmm.
free.
All right. Does anybody else have a gamer tag? How about you, Jose? What's yours?
Um, when I started Xbox, I went with Dark Gothic Fate, and I've
Hmm.
been Dark Gothic Fate on every single thing for the past like 25 years.
Hmm.
Even socials, everything. Like I say, everything is the same exact username.
Hmm.
Star
Okay.
Ocean 3 fan.
Yep.
For me, it's let's see. It wasn't an Xbox gamer tag, but one of the earliest that I usually use when I go online is Auron 047 because I haven't played um, Final Fantasy 10, but I see a lot of pictures of him because he's so edgy. You know,
Mm.
the big sword. And 47 was I got from Hitman because of Agent 47. So I combined those two. I got Agent 047. Auron 047.
How about Sir Richard?
Well, I have changed the gamer tag. So first time I get onto the internet, it was R14 Slayer or Reckoning 14 Type Slayer. That's how I got my nickname. Uh, it's like something that present my younger years. But once I got to Steam, the second time I was able to get online, I decided to use my initial RRW Ortiga. So it's also like a sign of the times from my younger years to what I'm right now. So I got online with Steam last year, and ever since then I've been using the same tag, especially when I'm playing like Emergency, the online rescue series. That's the one I'm using. Pretty much that's
How
it.
about Sir Garage? What's your gamer tag?
Hmm. Let me think. No, a lot. I kept changing it. So I started off with System 16, which was Sega's arcade technology for the Mega Drive, because I was a Mega Drive fan. And then I changed it to, you know, something else, like my name. And it's been my name ever since Virage 1985. Simply okay? Yeah.
Okay, for those of you in the audio podcast, you guys are just gonna have to tune into the live version to see what we're laughing about. Okay. Again, it goes back to our saying that because of the fact that we love each other, that's why we insult each other. Okay, remember that. Okay.
I'll say there's a lot of it was built on nerdy technological advances. So System 16, Super FX, Mode 7. I've just changed it to like the technologies that attribute to all these people who innovated these technologies for Sega arcade boards. Like one of them was Lindbergh, the Lindbergh arcade board. So it'd be that, and like the year of my birth next to it. But in the end, I settled for Virage 1985 now, and that's where I'm at now, or Virage. But these days I just stick to Nintendo. That's what I'm with. But yeah, that's basically the tag.
Which is why Jaw says that Viraj is very much a guy in the red team. Yes.
Right?
Mhm.
because what's Sony offering with PS5? The same thing they offered with PS4. Just better
Mhm,
graphics. Yeah.
mhm.
What are Microsoft offering? We've gone through that just now. Nintendo have offered something.
Well,
But
getting back to how Microsoft is, dovetailing from what you're saying, Viraj, I
mm,
think Microsoft is very much concentrated on a particular set or a particular flavor player, and in that respect, especially as the what you call this, the documentary Power On has pointed out, it has been very successful on that. It concentrates very much on sports games. It concentrates very much on action games. It concentrates very much on the things that are very much Western facing, shall we say. And
mm,
in this era of the 360, a lot of people look back on this fondly as the most successful era of Microsoft. A lot of people look back on it and say this was really the heyday of Microsoft, especially in terms of the games that were being offered and in terms of how the system sold so well, to the point that it presented a credible threat to Sony in the gaming arena. I would say about the only thing that really became the notorious part of it, getting into let's get into it. The Red Ring of Death. It is something that really got a lot of problems with Microsoft, and focused it was focused on in the documentary about how it caused so much damage to Microsoft that to this day the Red Ring of Death is the, shall we say, the derogatory term that you'd say for something that malfunctions or something that goes haywire. So
but let's
yeah, Jose, you can continue with that.
okay, go on.
Yeah, the chapter 5 of the thing just deals with all the issues with the Red Ring of Death. Um, and the 360 was the one that was like out in the forefront of everything. Other consoles had some issues, but not as widely spread as the Red Ring of Death. And I know there's a few of us here who did experience the Red Ring. But Sir Joe, I know you had mentioned that your Xbox 360 had Red Ring before. Uh, do you remember what you were doing when it happened,
What I was doing.
or
What
who
I
you
was
were
doing.
doing? No.
I mean, stuff that can
What I
be
was doing.
discussed in public anyway, Joe.
All right.
You
Red Ring.
disgust me.
Okay. Oh, no, no,
Go
no.
on.
So we're talking about the Red Ring of Death. All right. Uh, we need. So a little bit of a background here. The only time when I bought my first 360, this was like what? 2012, 2013. And the only reason
2013.
why I bought the 360 in the first place was because I wanted to play Tales of Vesperia. That's the only reason why I wanted to play it.
Because it's the home of
To get
JRPGs.
the system, right? Because hey, it's the Xbox 360. Xbox is the place to be for the JRPGs, so to speak, right?
Yeah,
And
he's
then
learning.
accepting, yeah, and then a few years later, okay, I just put that to storage, and then coming here in Australia, uh, I said, okay, I just want to test out all of my consoles coming here, and I still had my game save of Lost Odyssey, and I decided, okay, if I'm going to stream a 360 game, might as well just continue my game save of Lost Odyssey. I was able to finish the damn thing, put that back to storage. Fast forward 2022, I said, okay, let me retry or reboot all of my consoles again just to make sure that they're all running. And then when I got to the 360, and mind you, this was like what 2 3 years um, not been turned on, right? The moment when I pushed the button, boom, red ring of death. I'm like, what? Just like what just like Snoop Dogg said, I was mad as fuck,
Mm-hmm.
right? And to me, okay, uh, the red rings of death, and even the yellow lights of death for the PlayStation 3. at the, at the time of at the time of this generation's uh, consoles, I consider them as cancer, like gaming cancer. Like you don't know when it will happen. It's like at first they're all healthy. You get to know them, you get to love them, and then boom, it just happens. No cure, right? And for all of those times when you had your when you had your fun memories with your 360 and even with the PlayStation 3 rather, it's like it's really it's a really difficult feeling to process because we were raised on the Segas and the Nintendos and the PlayStation, well, PS1 and PS2. We never had this kind of problem. This was the first time we had this kind of problem, having this the lights, and I'm like, and if we
Well,
are really and if we are really hardcore gamers, the very concept of overheating the console was never really such a concerning thing for us. We can go like 4, 5, 6 hours straight playing. The only thing that we are so worried about is the electricity bill. But over the console, no, not really. With the 360 and the PS3, ever so often you are so worried. Oh God, please don't die on me now. Not now. Like you know what I mean. Like you only have to plan your day or plan your playtime because you don't want to overstress the board of your Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. And there's a reason why uh, it was barely covered in the documentary. They didn't really say what caused it, but according to them, it's a heating issue. Okay,
yeah,
it's just the overstressing
older lines.
of the
Would
solder
melt.
connections of the board that there's a connection issue between connection and the communication between the components, which led to your yellow light of death for PlayStation 3 and the red rings of death for the Xbox 360. And it wasn't until when we did our own documentary uh, when I found out that back in 2005, 2006, and just this was during the pre-production of both consoles. Apparently, and I'm not sure if this was a factor, but it was for at least for the other electronic devices. Apparently, at the time, it there was a worldwide ban of using lead solders in every electronic devices. Lead has uh, a high temperature threshold. So if you're not using those, then most likely all of your electronic devices will be subjected to heat if you don't use them. So most of the electronic device makers had to use lead-free solder materials. Yeah, sure. And this was the time when the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, well, Sony and Xbox were trying to rush its production, get get a foothold against the other, making sure that they set the standard. They rush production, had to cut corners. This is what we got, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Back to you, Sir.
Oh well, what did you do when your 360 got the red ring? Like, did you replace it right away? Did you send it in to get fixed?
He cried, obviously. He had a bit of a
He
cry.
went berserk. He went berserk.
I went, I went berserk first, of course. Okay, like any other guy out there, went straight to YouTube, went straight to message boards. Okay, how can I fix this myself, right? And yeah,
You put the
so
towel around it. The towel trick.
yeah, I mean, I check a few I checked a few tutorials on how to open the damn thing,
Hmm.
and they said, okay, just clean the board as much as you can, and then those quick fixes. Okay, put a heat gun on there, or a blow or a hair dryer. Put it,
So the trick
make sure
is,
make sure to
we
heat
tell
it
people
up, stuff
to
like
put
that.
towels around it and turn it on for 3 hours, and then the solder will melt back into
Put it
place.
on a towel, put it in a microwave or
And
something, and
then,
then
well, I don't know about microwave, but you wait for it, and then the light will go from red to green again. And what it was is, as you said, cheap solder on the 35 cm chip. It's only with the Elite that they changed it to an 85 cm chip, so it's a cooler chip. So that would never happen again. But Microsoft, to be fair to them, offered a 2 to 3 year guarantee on those units which were known to have that problem, and they did repair them and change it, change certain aspects over. To be fair to Microsoft, and even in spite of the 360 having this failure, it did actually outsell the PS3 for quite some time. It was only towards like the time when Sony redesigned the PS3 to make it cheaper did the tables turn a little bit towards Sony's side. But that was actually quite a close fought war with the 360 because I think there was more of a market share that Microsoft were offering. So that happened, and the PS3 was just so expensive. It's £600
It,
on the
it, it was quite a fascinating part of the documentary as well. I think you guys that was part of the documentary where they discussed that the guys who did the 360 brought it straight to Bill Gates and said, Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer and said, "Guys, we have a problem." And how much is it? And Steve Ballmer and Bill Gates said, "How much is it going to cost to fix?" And the Microsoft guy said, Xbox guy said $1 billion. And of course, Bill Gates ranted. Steve Ballmer, was stunned. But at the end of it, they said, "Okay, fix it. $1 billion. We'll take care of it." And it I they didn't care about the $1 billion. Just make it work, make it happen. And yeah, it was quite fascinating to see back then of how large and how rich of a company Microsoft was, that they were willing to spend $1 billion. Even today, that's a stunning figure
yeah.
in money to fix the mistake that the Xbox guys made. So yeah, it's an amazing part of the documentary and well worth the watch too.
back to you, Sir Jose.
Yeah, I forgot what I was doing with mine. I think I was like playing like GTA 4 or something, and it just all of a sudden like completely went out on the TV, and I just see the little lights blinking. I was like, "What the hell is that?" And then like I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh my god! Like what the hell is this thing?" So I had bought mine at Best Buy, so people were like, "Oh, like if you bought it from Best Buy, you could just take it back there." So of course I take it back to them, and they have to run their own test where they have to actually see it happen for them to take it and replace it. And of course, every time I took it into Best Buy, it would not happen at Best Buy. And I'd be like pissed. I'd be like, it literally red rings as soon as I turn it on at home, and they're like, "Oh, we've been playing it for like 20 minutes and it hasn't done anything." So whatever, like this happened like 3 or 4 times back and forth, and every time I went home, as soon as I fucking plugged it in, red ring, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So eventually, it did it, and they replaced it, and I got a brand new one. But I was still hesitant on like even playing it because I was like, well, if it does it again, and
What
there
now?
was like motherboard revisions that like Kurt says in the chat, the Jasper is the one you wanted to get, and that one was the most reliable one because there was four before that, and none of them were as reliable as this Jasper one.
Mhm.
Um, and then speaking on what Sir Joe mentioned earlier, the PlayStation 3 also had a similar issue with the yellow light of death, and that happened to me too. I forget when, I forget what I was doing, and that was a much easier fix because like it happened. I went on the Sony support website, and they were like serial number, blah blah blah. This is what happened, and they're like, okay, they're like, you got two options: either we'll fix it, which they just replace it with the same model, or I could pay $100 and get the slim PS3. And I was like, I don't want the slim PS3. I want the one I bought, the one that plays PS2 games. So I just
Yes.
waited.
Backwards
and
compatible, baby.
they sent it over. I remember they sent me a huge ass empty box, and then
A
I had
huge
to
app.
send this box. um, but not all consoles have their issues, because even though it's like been like 20 plus years for the original Xbox, the original Xbox also has an issue depending on which model you have, where the clock capacitor will start leaking all over the motherboard and ruin your original Xbox. So that's something that people were saying, that you have to look to see which one you have so you can open it up and remove it or replace it. And luckily I have one of the ones that's beyond that issue. But there's been lots of issues too, cuz same thing with like the PSP battery exploding, the what else was it? I forgot what
I
the
mean,
other one was.
I mean,
3D.
this,
Did the
The
3DS have that
DS.
issue too? Yeah, I think it
The
did.
DS.
I don't
Um,
think any 3DS is having any issues, but go on.
well, I know, I
The
and a
DS
bunch of
does.
people online, there's like a bunch of issues with the batteries swelling, like way before they should be.
But that's because people put in direct sunlight.
I never play in
They're,
sunlight.
they're playing Boktai. That's why. They're playing
To
I
get
mean,
that 99 hit.
I mean, look. In all fairness, I will say this: if we talk about durability in systems, yeah, Nintendo have the most durable systems. Typically, they make systems that are built very well. So I don't know their handhelds having any real issues. I think that's why they were always dominant with the handheld. I've had no issues. I mean, I've had every single Nintendo handheld, and I've had no issues with them in terms of software. The only issue I've had with a Nintendo bit of hardware is my Wii U, and I was worried about the memory when you
Yeah, the NAND.
yeah, the battery starts to go. If you don't use the system, you're gonna have issues. And I think we're at a point now where these systems now are so over-engineered with so many moving parts and components in them. Something is bound to go bloody wrong. You know, with PlayStation 2, you used to scratch up your discs if you had it upright. In PlayStation 2, we got so many sent back because they were defective. A lot of them we sent back for repair, but then we sold a lot of them. Same with the 360. We sold so many 360s, and we had them so many sent back for repair because you're going to sell more, you're going to get more out of faulty. It's just the way it's going to be. But yeah, I think with the era that they were in, you're going to get faulty systems. PS3 had issues. What I would say now with systems that are successful, you're going to have problems. Obviously, the Switch, actually, I'll tell a lie, the Switch had issues with the drift on the Joy-Cons. So you're going to get that, but it's how a company deals with their problems. And Microsoft to say, you know what, we'll pay the money to repair these systems, we'll put it aside. And for them to offer a 2 to 3 year guarantee, depending on the unit you had for us in the UK, because that's what they did. They had to offer that guarantee. So if you've got a problem with it, we'll repair it for you free of charge. And that's where the $1 billion went. So at least they took ownership of it. And I don't think that actually lost them customers, to be honest. Maybe it did. Maybe it did. I don't know. When the new system came out, I think what really hurt Microsoft when that 360 became an Xbox One was their attitude and the whole thing with discs being registered to that system. And I remember that launch with the PS4 became the system people wanted, and that's when Microsoft sort of lost and they lost their power when they were pretty much close to Sony. I don't know what their market share is now, but it's a lot lower than it ever was back in that era. So I think yes, systems are going to get faulty now. Even the PS5 will have issues at some point. It's just one of those things. It's just how a company deals with the faults that system has. And I think during the 360 era, I think Microsoft behaved fairly, to be fair, in regards to what they're offering.
I remember on my PS2, my original PS2 had issues too, where it would have disk read errors, and depending on the game, we would either have to lay it down or stand it up. And I remember there
Yeah,
was a few games where we would have to like turn it like almost upside down, and it would read it.
that's
It
correct.
was
Yeah, sounds about right.
it was weird.
That's
Same thing with the original Xbox One. There was a point where it wouldn't pull the disc in all the way, and what you had to do is you'd have to get like something to prop it up like at an angle. That way, gravity helped take the disc all the way in. It was hella stupid. And then, oh, you know what? My Wii had a problem too, which is I don't know if it's just me, but my Wii, and I remember reading online that a couple people had this issue too, where there would be like random, like it almost looked like dead pixels, but it only happened on the Wii. And people were saying that it had to do with that Wii Connect 24 with the Wii being on all the time. It was kind of frying the board, uh, the graphics part of the board, and they were just there. Like there's nothing you could do about it. Like, and it was beyond any Nintendo repair timeline. But Sir JDM or Sir Ryan, did you guys ever have issues with any of your consoles?
For me, yeah, one time. That was with my original PS1 because it's also due to age. So the longer you play it, the CD lens start to wear out. So it's like it took almost like 5 years of total playtime for that issue to appear. And of course, I was able to fix it by my fix it by myself by getting a replacement lens from Apple. It's easy to do. So far, that's the only console that I have problem with. The Dreamcast, which I have it in my warehouse, I don't think there were the only problem is the battery. It's really drained
Mm,
out.
yeah.
There, of course, most of the time I play games on my PC, but once in a while for nostalgia, I will play it on my console. My original PS1 is still in the warehouse, almost perfect condition. Dreamcast is one of my price unit because it's like the seller doesn't know what they have on their site. It's like I bought it for like $8 or 400 Philippine peso locally. And as a way of thinking that I told them what unit this one is, and after I told them about it, they jack up the price from 400 pesos. They turn it 3,500 pesos.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but of course I still have the last laugh because no one has bought it ever since. I'm the only person who bought the console. I don't know what's wrong with them. It's like I'm trying to help them sell the unit, but all they do is about profit, profit, profit to the point that they went bankrupt. What gives?
All
At
right. How
least you
about you,
had
Sir
your revenge.
JDM?
Um, for me, I remember my very. I think it was my second PS1 that uh, had any issues. That had an issue, but it was not me who was able to experience it. It was my cousins because when I went to college, I have to first. Of course, I need to go to a dorm and I need to leave most of my items at home. So I left my PS1 there. I left it for my cousins so they will be able to play it. But one day it gave up because the one of the capacitors blew up. So it was um, not fun. It didn't function. And then when I heard of it, of course, I went berserk. But um, one of them was able to get their own PS1, and it was a that slim one that's almost round the last PS1 revision, I think.
Mhm.
And
The
I
PS1 with the one spelt out.
right, correct. That the one that doesn't have you can't use that doesn't have the parallel ports. Uh,
Hmm.
and they had that PS1, and I actually had my revenge because it broke down as well because they were using this Game Shark disc because they can't use the Game Shark device anymore because they don't have the parallel connector at the back.
Oh
So
yeah.
what they did is they used the Game Shark disc, um, the one that you insert in the tray, the CD tray, and all you have to do is to save the codes in a memory card. So you need to have a space in your memory card to save all the codes. And the lens gave out. I don't know if it's like a counterfeit or an official media disc that they're using. So
All of
I
them are.
actually had, I, I actually had my revenge for breaking my PS1. But actually, that PS1 that um, had the capacitors blown out was repaired. I guess 3 to 5 years after because I I gave it to one of my good cousins who was able to fix it. He said that, oh, we just have to change this one capacitor. I don't know which one it is, and all of a sudden he actually gave it back to me. Then once again, dumb as I was, I gave that PS1 because I already have my PS2. I gave it to the same cousins that I I gave him to, and I didn't know what happened to that console, but um,
Ten
it is
pieces
what it.
now, no?
I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if they already sold it, or I don't care because
Look,
I already have my PS2.
it says Richard says, and his PlayStation One just went because of wear. 5 years, the laser's going to wear out. All these things, they're all going to die. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. And again, going back to the whole topic with Microsoft, yeah, okay, it was poorly designed, and I think that was the issue. The first additions to the Xbox 360. Another thing I'd like to add was the addition of HDMI, the socket on the back of it that was put on the Elite systems. Before that, you had a VGA port, which was still HD, but it wasn't like the colors would appear washed out. The PS3 actually had a HDMI socket on it, so the Elite offered that, and it was a better system in terms of memory that you got in the box. I think. Remember there was that whole format war, Blu-ray versus HD DVD. Well, you could also get a HD DVD player for your 360 Elite. It would be nice if it came bundled with the Elite when HD DVD was a thing, but sadly that was not to be. But it's just as well since
All right. Back to you, Thursday.
Oh well, did we hear about from Sir Joel and his adult toy issues?
Mute, Sergio.
That
Up. There you go. Nope.
Nope,
Still nothing.
you're muted.
He's having an issue now.
Okay, there you go. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
Now,
tell
okay.
All
us
right,
about your
there you
adult
go.
toys.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. There's lots of malfunctions with lots of, surprisingly happy results, but not, not so much. Not so much in terms of the hardware. I can honestly say that I've been very careful with my hardware, and surprisingly, I've never had
Ooh,
any
hard.
issues. Like, yeah, I know. Like, I never had the yellow ring of death. I've never had the brain ring of death. I Even with current gens and previous gens, I've been very careful with mine, and I guess maybe it's a tribute to the fact that I'm not as hardcore of a gamer as a lot of people here. I think the documentary did say that the issues that the 360 had with its red ring of death was that they often turning it on and off. Like it would heat up, it would cool down, it would heat up, it would cool down, and it would kind of misalign stuff inside of it because the components would kind of expand and contract based on the heat. So that, I think that caused the problem, that caused the issue. And I guess the fact that I didn't have my consoles on for 10 hours at a time and then shut it off and then turn it on again 2 hours later, I think that might have been the fact that I haven't experienced all that many problems with my consoles. At most, I run my consoles maybe 1 or 2 hours at a time, and then life suddenly imposes itself and gets in the way, and I have to do real world stuff. But yeah, that's probably the reason why. And yeah, hardware wise, I guess I'm lucky that I missed out on that era of the 360. I wish that I was there during that time. A lot of great things happened back then, but I guess that's one thing that I might have encountered anyway if I had gone on the 360 bandwagon rather than the PS3 back then. So yeah, no faults to report, Jose, but I guess I'm counting my lucky stars for that one.
All right. During this time, that there was also like a big push, like especially from the Wii, for motion control, and then Xbox and PlayStation both jumped on that as well. Did you guys, besides the Wii, because it was all motion,
Mhm.
did you guys jump into the Connect or
The
the
Yes,
PlayStation Move?
my brother had the Xbox One, and he was big on the Kinect. My brother Eric had Dance Central. I think that was the title of the
Yeah.
game. Dance Central for the Microsoft Xbox One, and it was a lot of fun. Honestly, I was watching him play it. I'm terrible at dancing. I don't do dance games. About the best that I can do with dance games is Just Dance, and that's because of the fact that the you can just waggle the remote and you'll get points for it. But the Kinect factored in your entire body. It would scan in your extremities, your hands and your feet and your head, I think, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
and it would consider how well you were actually doing as a dancer rather than you cheating and play and wiggling your joystick around.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I know.
Lots
But
of
yeah,
double entendre
I
on this
know, I
episode.
know. But yes, generally speaking, Dance Central on the Kinect was a really, really fun application for it. And if you were any kind of aficionado of dancing and video gaming, that was a really good intersect of video gaming back then. There were some other games, but I didn't really see all that good of applications for it. I think there was an proposal for a lightsaber game for the Xbox One, but it never came to fruition. But yes, if you were to tell me one game that would be a killer app for motion control for the Xbox One and latter part of the Xbox 360, it would have been Dance Central, and I saw it in action with my brother. I wish that I had the capacity to dance, but I didn't, and I would have enjoyed it if I did. But yeah. hmm Back to you, Jose.
That's a lot of feedback from someone.
Okay, let me just see.
All right.
Not on my
So,
side.
okay. Who's feedbacking? Mute test.
Yeah,
Mute
right.
test. Everybody mute.
All right. So while everybody is muting, with my experience with the Kinect, the Xbox 360 that I got, the one that got the red rings, that came out with the Kinect. Never had the chance to have a use for it though. I remember when the bundle that it came up with. What's that? What's that? 360 game? The one with the Safari, kind of thing. Like what?
Connectimals.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the one. Is that the one when you're both players on the rapids trying to avoid some
That's Connect
branches?
Adventures.
There you go, the Connect Adventures. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, that's the only game that I used it for, and I was just curious. Actually, I was just curious on how it functions.
Bi curious.
But I never really bought games specifically for the Kinect. Although I do know that, the documentary mentioned, that there were other applications for the Kinect because it uses infrared to capture body movement. And I know this because one of the YouTube channels that I frequent, they call themselves, the YouTube channel is called Watcher. So they do this. Their YouTube Ghost Paranormal Investigators, and one of the devices that they've been using to capture paranormal activity, they are actually using a Kinect camera just to check any heat thermal residues from disembodied um, ghosts, apparently, figures. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And um, if there's one, I mean, I only had this newfound appreciation for the Kinect camera during the Just Dance and the Dance Central craze. But even then, our living room, even my game space, actually, I don't have that much space to accommodate that much movement using the Kinect camera. So yeah, I had to give that up. So I think I gave my camera to my brother-in-law. So he's the one using it. I'm not me. Can you imagine playing a JRPG with a Kinect? What the hell is that? So as I go.
I'm like trying to think if there was one. I know there was like a survival horror game that was first person using the Kinect. And then it's funny you talk about the it being used for ghosts. There, one of the Paranormal Activity movies has a Kinect like in there that sees a ghost. Um, let's see, where were we on the thing?
There is this Dragon Quest game for the Wii, Dragon Quest Sword. Now they're using the actual remote, and that's
mm,
a JRPG. But in terms of the Xbox 360, I don't think not. I mean, not even Japan came up with like an exclusive JRPG that uses the Kinect. Harry Potter, yeah, sure. And
oh
Steel
yeah, there was a
Battalion,
Harry
sure.
Potter.
Dragon Ball Z, I think
Yeah,
Dragon Ball Z Kinect was the thing.
there was a Kinect Star Wars game that also had
Oh,
dancing
that
in it.
one too. Yeah, yeah, I remember that one. Can you
So
imagine doing force powers in front of the Kinect?
Sir Ryan, did you have any experience with any motion controls on anything?
Well, limited. Uh, the last time I have experience with motion control was trying to emulate a Wii console on a PC. It was a doable but quite challenging because uh, the PC, the Wii has a sensor bar. So I was having difficulty replicating the Wii sensor, but it works in a way. That's the only time I tried experience with motion sensing. And then I also heard that someone make a thesis about using a Xbox Kinect controller. Guess for what?
Tell us.
Can anyone? Okay, someone made a thesis to use the Xbox Kinect controller as a controller for the handicap. For example, when
Ah.
when someone raised their hand and like open their hand, it means to turn on the light for the entire house.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
if they wave, it means uh it means that it's time for you to uh I mean this they'll it like turn on the aircon or turn on the fan.
Hmm.
There was a thesis about that, and it was so successful that Microsoft was able to sell it as a separate unit for the PC. You have to give them a heads up though, so that they can save a copy. so that they can send a unit to you. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, give or take, it costs around 60, almost like $60
Mm-hmm.
or like 3,000 pesos, and then you have to
Mm-hmm.
pay for the shipping, if I
Yeah,
recall right.
I think it was mentioned in the documentary that they actually licensed out the Connect technology for other industries, like you said, Ryan, for industries for the handicapped and for disabilities. I think they did that, and I'm not.
Rehab hospitals for
Mhm,
patients with Alzheimer's, dementia,
mhm.
kids with ADD. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft's Connect technology was being adapted for people with mobility issues. I'd say I wouldn't be surprised if that actually is one of the revenue sources of Microsoft if they license that to hospitals and for people with issues. That might be one of the ways that they're giving back to the community. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, back to you, Jose. Oh, I think Jose is still on mute.
There we go. Yeah, even talking about the Connect, even the camera on iPhones, it the one at the top that actually sees your face, it's essentially a Connect. It uses the same um technology to be able to read your face to unlock your phone.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's weird. They also released a specific Connect that was just for Windows. It was a smaller version of the one that came with the Xbox. That way, it could fit on top of your monitor. But I don't know what the Xbox was used for, unless there was like some PC Connect sex games or something.
Uh, that's down the line. I'm pretty sure, robotics technology will be integrated on that one then. I mean, heck.
um,
Hmm. Yeah.
Sir JDM, did you have any motion control experience with the PlayStation?
Mm, no, I didn't. I didn't have the what do you call that PlayStation Move that looks like
Yeah, like a
uh,
dildo.
I don't, I was trying to avoid I was trying to avoid saying that.
No, there's no avoiding it, JDM. We go
Yeah.
straight at it here.
I think I remember the Xbox 360 and PS3 episode that we have. We
Mm.
were doing this.
Oh yeah.
He
I
went
mean, it.
skiing.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure if Garage was part of the team back then yet, but he would have certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah, he would have. I could tell. Look at him right now.
the, the,
He's just
the,
thinking about it.
the, I think that was the episode when we were licking the PS3s and the Xbox on screen. Uh, but anyways, I didn't have any motion. Uh, I don't know if the 3DS counts. Um,
A little bit, yeah. I think
the
it
camera,
does. Mm,
the
yes.
camera that you have, and the only one I experience is the you can use your DS3 controller, right? The 6 axis to move the
Oh
controller
yeah.
because it has the gyroscope, right? Because if you're playing Metal Gear Solid 4, you have this camouflage that you use called the octo camo. So when you adapt to some environment and you would like to revert the octo camo to its original like color, you just shake the controller so it will revert the texture that he imitated from an environment. It um, reverts back. And then as for the 360, I'm enjoying it right now because I have the Kinect here.
Oh, what are you playing?
I think I mentioned it in a different episode. This one,
Oh,
Fitness
Oh
Evolved.
yeah, that one.
This
How is it?
one, the
How
one,
is it as a game?
yeah, I sort out my muscles when I first played this. I
Are you?
didn't, I didn't do the like the cardio first or
Hmm.
the warm up exercises because the thing is, there's a warm up exercise in here, but it's so like rigorous or it's so um not hard, but the movements you need to do large movements so it will be effective. So I worn out my muscles. So
Are you a dancer, JDM?
no, only in my
No.
mind.
Okay. I was gonna say you should try the Dance Central games on the 360.
Ah yeah, I have um
Or you know which one?
the
You should get the Michael Jackson one.
yeah I have when I bought this 360 from a friend, and thank you so much for this. I bought it for a friendly price, and it has Dance Central. I don't know which. I forgot which version it is. I I remember it has some Rihanna songs in here,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden I was playing with my nephews. Then I like it when they take a picture after you finish the song, and I think I posted one on my socials. So yeah, it was a truly nice experience to have a Kinect at home.
Well, I'm kind of curious about Viraj's experience of selling that piece of hardware during his time. Were you selling that during your time at the game shop, game store, Viraj? Oh, I think Viraj's connection is bad. Wait. There you go. One moment. I think he. Could you repeat that, Viraj? Just double check.
Oh no, it's connection bad.
Oh, sorry, Viraj. Your connection is really bad right now. I think you're coming in really choppy.
You should stop all those downloads you have in the background.
Yeah.
Those manly videos. No.
Yeah, sad to say, Viraj, your connection is bad. Okay, he'll probably come back in a moment. Continue, Jose. Well, I'll ask him about his game shop
Okay.
experiences in a little while.
Okay, we'll just jump into the last chapter. The TV or not TV, the entertainment focus, studio acquisitions, and the new console. They kept saying that one of the problems was that they didn't explain what they were trying to do correctly. Had they done so, do you think that the outcome would have still been the same with the Xbox One?
Now, I think, personally speaking, I think Microsoft is thinking way too ahead of its time. Honestly, Microsoft has a vision of being everywhere all at once. Some might call it revolutionary. Some might call it insidious. But their goal of being everywhere on every platform, being on your TVs, being on your radios, being on your computers, and being on your consoles, being a platform, Microsoft Xbox being a platform where you can play anywhere all at once. I think that was their original vision for the Xbox One. Sure, they did not explain it properly. They wanted to make it so that the television, which was a big factor back in the day, was integrated when Microsoft Xbox or Xbox was integrated into television. That is still happening right now. Recent happenings with Microsoft laying off employees and possibly even getting out of the hardware business and concentrating on software and being on a multi-platform thing. That is an extension of what they had with the Xbox One, their strategy. Personally, my personal thought is they're just continuing what they originally thought of, where they are going to be on every platform, on every way that they can play Xbox, whether it's on TV, whether it's on your computer, whether it's on your cell phone, whether it's on your tablet, whether it's on your console. I think that is what their ultimate goal is. They were thinking way too far ahead during that time, especially as mentioned in the documentary. When I saw the documentary, I saw exactly what they were aiming for. I knew exactly what they wanted to do, and I saw what they described back then in what they were describing in that documentary happening right now in what Microsoft is planning on doing. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're still going to continue with that strategy. Sure, back then people might not have grasped the concept, but starting, but they are starting to nowadays. So I wouldn't be surprised if what they said back then actually happens either in this generation or the generation next couple of generations after. So yes, that is how I saw the documentary coming into fruition in today's landscape. Anybody else have any opinions on this?
Well, I'm hearing some feedback again. All right. So, in regarding with the Xbox One, I remember at E3 of 2013. We were all streaming from YouTube both exhibitions for the both PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One. Mind you, very stupid name. I don't know why they chose that name. You would think it would be 720 because 360, 720. It only made sense. Xbox One, what the hell, right? And then uh, when Don Matrick pretty much presented what they wanted to do with Xbox, everything is TV, okay, and they didn't mention any games. And I remember because um, I was hoping, hey, maybe there are some games for me, for someone like me. Not
Mm.
everything is all about Halo. Not everything is all about Forza. Not everything is all about Gears of War. How about me? How about my needs? No, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
But
So
to be
what
fair,
did they know?
the only thing you play is JRPGs, man. Come on, man.
No, that's the thing.
Well, there you go.
That's the
That's what you
thing.
got to
And you know
play, man.
why? Because, no, there's no why. Because with the 360, uh, Xbox Microsoft pretty much gave up with the Japanese market. It's just way too weird over there. The tentacles is just way too weird over there.
It's
Okay,
bloody weird.
they cannot handle the tentacles. All
I
right.
can't handle them either. So I don't know what it's all about. You know what I mean? And to be honest, like I don't think the Microsoft solution is for someone like you who's so single-minded in his gaming. He just has RPGs. That's all he's got. You know what I mean? I've seen you try to play an action game. I remember the first podcast I saw you and I watched you. You were playing this Shinobi game. This is when Sam on the show. It was like,
Oh, Viraj, I think it might be
Oh,
your
but
connection.
you know what?
It's gone bad
You know what?
again.
All I'm
Yeah.
hearing was.
Yeah. No, I think Viraj's connect. I think if Viraj's connection might be going bad. Anyway, let's see if Viraj's connection went good again. Go ahead, Viraj. Nah.
I'm not hearing
Yeah,
anything.
sorry. Yeah, to Viraj's
No,
point, I think what he's saying is that what your niche, Joe, might not be as big of a niche in the West as it is in the East. Of course, in
mm,
the East, JRPGs are huge, but in the West back then, it was kind of a burgeoning thing. It was starting to get big, but not to the point where it would make money. So I
oh
think
no.
that was
I
Viraj's point.
mean,
Yeah.
uh, I mean, uh, what my needs were inconsequential.
Mm-hmm.
With Microsoft did
Mm-hmm.
during that conference, Kinect must always be on.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, like watching you, everything you do, you must always be online, right? And all games are all DRM, and once you purchase the game, that's already hard coded on your console. There's no way for you to lend it out to somebody. You cannot
Mm-hmm.
borrow a game from somebody else. You can't even sell it. No,
One moment. Exactly. Describe those things that you just mentioned. Always being watched, always online, your games being hard coded to your hardware. I wouldn't remember what I said about how Microsoft was thinking forward on that one. Think about
no,
what they said back then and think
I
about
can
how
see
we
where you
are now. Yeah.
and I can see where this is going.
Hmm.
But to Sir Joel's point,
Hmm.
I don't think the gamers at the time
Yet.
were there yet.
Exactly.
We as gamers, as a community, we were not there yet. At the time when they were trying to announce the Xbox One, we were trying to vet out which gaming console uh, should we go next, either the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. And looking at it retrospectively, what they did on the E3 conference, pretty much what Sony did with the PlayStation 3. For all of Sony's hubris, thinking that okay, PS1, PS2, we were so successful, we will announce something like this. We'll try to pull some shit like this, hoping that the gamers will eventually just cow over and suck it and just buy our shit regardless of what we do, right? But no. um, uh, when they announced that, and the tables now reversed with what happened, Sony now is applauding themselves. Oh my God, the Xbox just handed over E3 back to us, and the rest is history. Thursday, back to you. Mute.
You know, what's funny is the TV focus. I remember being kind of excited for it because I was like, oh, I'm gonna be able to do everything from my Xbox. Like my Xbox isn't. I'm not gonna need to switch to anything else because I'll be able to do everything here. And it was cool for a while, but then after a while, I was like, man, this is boring because you get all those notifications that are popping up where you're trying to watch something like, oh, so and so is online. Oh, so and so invited you to go play this. And I'm like, dude, you literally see I'm on like Netflix or I'm watching TV. Like, leave me alone. But it's funny because they were going for like people who weren't gamers to try to buy this thing. And I remember when I worked at GameStop, there was this older couple who came in and they were like, "Oh, we need the adapter for the Connect because their Xbox One had given out finally, and they had to get the One S, and because it doesn't have the port for it, you needed to buy an adapter to fix it or to actually plug it into the Xbox." And I was just like, oh, okay, like the hell, like what are these old people playing Dance Central or shit like that? And they were like, oh no, that they don't play video games. The only reason that they bought the original Xbox was because they used it to watch TV
Well, there you
or
go.
Netflix or any of the streaming sites. That they said not once did they ever use their console for any video games. It was strictly they would plug their cable box into it or whatever or watch Netflix. And the reason for the Connect was because they used the voice controls to control everything. They would use nothing else beyond those things, which I thought was crazy because you know you never hear about a console being used like a
A cable
streaming
box.
box. Yeah. So I was like, what the fuck? I was like, get the fuck out of here.
A
No.
very expensive cable box, mind
Yes.
you.
That's what I didn't
How much? How
understand.
much?
I was
How
like,
much is it? So how much was it when
it
they
was like,
announced it? Like about 500 bucks.
yes.
And they were the ones chastising Sony for making the PS3 like what, almost 600.
Imagine the tech guys from Microsoft getting calls from people who are having this. They during the 360 they were getting calls from, oh, I have games. I have a problem with my game or something like that. Then all of a sudden the Xbox One came in, and now they have issues watching Netflix, watching Twitch. it's 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 almost exclusively those streaming services. No more games. Are we doing telco issues here now?
I mean, heck, the way that Microsoft programmed it and the way that it's looking, that is their ultimate goal. They're becoming a multimedia powerhouse, and honestly, they're going to be going away from the hardware portion of it. It's my personal take, and they're going to focus, like Jom and Ted said in the chats right now. uh, Microsoft is likely going to be focusing on software again because that's what they're good at. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's how they're going to focus going forward. They probably are going to play to their strengths in the next few generations of games.
Also to piggyback on what um, Jose said about the consoles. Remember when people bought their PS2 or PS3 for as a multimedia player? I think they capitalized that, and since it's we're having a dawn of streaming services, they just took advantage of it. I think that's what happened to Xbox One when they introduced it as a like the alternate setup box that we have.
500 bucks, goddamn.
Right.
How much does a Switch cost now?
About the same.
Okay, there you go.
About the same.
Yeah.
So
All right.
Richard,
So,
go. Just
mhm.
talk to Richard.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for anyone else. Go.
Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay. Anyway, for actually for the Xbox One, it's like they are repeating history of what they did with the Windows Media, Windows Media. So that time, they were thinking like, is since the Xbox One was built as like a PC, why not revive the Windows Media Edition approach to their console? So that's what I'm thinking of what they're trying to do. It does work, but there's a problem. Uh, First, not not everyone who use computer are like tech savvy. So that's first thing. That's why there was an Xbox 360 as a media player, and at the same time, is Microsoft, in a way, yes, they're a little bit ahead of their time, but at the same time, they haven't even considered about the user themselves, because that time Windows Media Edition is like for a specific customer. Then you're going to push in a console that also does media. It may work, but it's way too early. So right now they can actually right now at this moment they can even do it. And a weird fact, just to give you guys a heads up, Xbox One is actually is like a miniaturized PC, but worse with a slight difference. I'll give you a hint. The Xbox One has a octa-core processor, and try to think it as a PC. What do you think really happens in the background?
Mm.
We know jack shit. We're console players.
Is it because of the fact that it doesn't have a GPU to offload the graphics processing to?
It does.
It does. Oh, okay. Hmm.
Yes. Try to think of this way. Windows Media Edition, then the Xbox One. Then it also has a octa-core. What do you think really happened in the background?
Mm.
We are over 2 hours now. Might as well just tell us.
Yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead, Ryan. Hmm.
okay. At the background, Xbox One is preloaded with Windows 8. So what will happen is every time you boot up, Instead of using 8 core, it will only use 4 cores. So, which means that it will load itself as Windows 8 first. Then it will quickly shift over to the Xbox One part. Number So two, the Xbox One. there's an echo here. Sorry. So overall, if you are if you're able to take a look at it, Xbox One is just like is like a PC. In fact, technically, there technically it will support up to Windows 10, courtesy of the update system for the Xbox. So Microsoft has everything on that console. So why not integrate it with media? They did it right, but at least they would just set that as a as the later part. So during the presentation, I would be more happy if they introduce it as a console first. Then after console, they introduce it as a media player.
Which was
That would be
Jaw's point, actually. Yeah, Jaw really said that's the biggest, yeah, issue that they had with that presentation. And going forward, I think
Mm,
they kind of fixed that. But yeah, they really amped up the idea of it being a multimedia box and all-in-one thing. And they kind of forgot, oh wait, this is a game console first. So I think that was Jaw's point. Viraj, let's see if your connection is better now. You were
Yeah,
about to say something.
should be all right now, I think. But my thoughts is that my thoughts is can you guys hear me?
yep.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Okay, so my thoughts with the 360, well, with the one and the catch actually, I think it's I mean, there's all gimmicky things, aren't there? I mean, the whole like really, who plays the you want a controller in your hand. You don't like you walk around and dance like a fool. Who does that, man? They're legal with the dance game. And I like, it looks
Oh,
Yeah,
hang
sorry to
on,
say, Viraj.
Brad.
You started. Sorry to say, Viraj. It sounds like you're stuttering. It's either you're stuttering or you've started speaking Martian. But yeah, it might
Stuttering
be.
again.
Yeah, it might be something to do with either your connection or your whatever torrents you're running in the background. But yeah.
One tab at a time. One tab at a time.
Yeah, but yeah, sad to say, Viraj, we might not be able to hear what you're saying. We are interested in what you want to say. It's just that the connection is not allowing it to happen. Sad to say. All right, so I think yeah, we might want to just kind of wrap this up, Jose, or Joe, because
Oh,
we're a little past the
let's
2 hour
do one
mark.
more thing.
Mhm.
How about so? I believe it's Game Pass, or Jose,
hmm
the last one.
Um, it is, but we could go to a different question because it'll just end it off if you want to.
Well, one last question then. Go ahead.
Okay. So after seeing the documentary series Power on the Story of Xbox,
Mhm.
has your opinion changed for the Xbox and the Xbox brand? Sergio.
Yes, yes. Honestly, I respect their hustle. I respect how much effort they put into it. It has completely changed my point of view in terms of them. I always thought of them as this giant company that's always out to get the industry. But seeing as how the Xbox team is, that was actually this tiny little team that built itself from scratch and fought not just the entire gaming industry, but Microsoft itself as a culture and as a company from the inside. They fought everybody, not just their enemies, but their friends, in order to get a seat at the table. And now they are a presence in the video gaming industry. This documentary has not just solidified my respect for what they did, but also how documentaries are a legitimate form of historical document. This documentary was eye-opening. It was very entertaining. It really drove home not just the fact that video games and the entertainment industry in general is influential, how influential it is nowadays in modern times, and how it is something that we it is that it's not just entertainment but education that we can get from documentaries, from reading the documents, from reading history and everything. We learn from things that happened. It might change our perspective also of our preconceived notions of what we have. We think, one thing is one way, and it turns out based on what the documentaries and what the interviews say, it's completely different. I was highly entertained. I enjoyed it very, very much. Anybody who has access to YouTube should watch Power On, the video game documentary about Microsoft and about Xbox. That's my take. Back to you, Jose.
All right, Sir JDM, did it change your uh, mind about the brand itself?
Yes, actually, growing up here in the Philippines, a lot of us were um, like our minds were conditioned that PlayStation is the best console. They made the best consoles. We were actually, what I'm thinking now is, we were actually coerced, manipulated, and I guess repressed about the Xbox One. I mean the Xbox in its entirety. But watching this documentary made me realize that I missed out um, a lot about the Xbox. So I learned its history. I learned its consoles, the efforts that they made uh, to make this console work. So I really appreciate all of those. Um, it might be late, but I'm if I would be able to tell them my appreciation on everything that they did for the Xbox. I really salute these people.
Don't cry, Sir JDM. According to
No, go ahead,
So
cry.
Richard, same
Some of
question.
us are
Go.
passionate about these things.
How about Ryan? Let's hear what he
Yes.
has to say about it.
For me, it's also an eye opener because at least I was aware of what Microsoft has to do just to make the Xbox a thing. And at the same time, in a way, it also inspires me to also try other things or try something unique with the Microsoft environment. And speaking of which, I'm about to show you something for a moment. This is quite heavy.
Go ahead. Let's see what Ryan has to present. What is that? Let me see. It's a PC, I think.
Yes, it's a
Mm,
PC.
yeah.
This is how an Xbox 360 would look like if they
Hmm.
convert it into a PC.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yes, this is a my idea is this PC I'm holding is like the possible development environment.
Ah,
Or
yeah.
if given a chance, I would if I'm capable, I would get the inner working of the Xbox 360 and convert it into this PC. Of course, do you remember last time someone said it's because of the Xbox that we felt, uh, let's say, compensating for something.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, this is my answer to this. Also, my answer to compensating because the one I carried a while ago weighs 15 pounds, octa-core Xenon processor, and capable up to 128 gig of memory. So it's like the perfect environment. Even though that this PC I'm holding is released 2 years later of Xbox 360, so it inspires me that Microsoft really did their best, and at the same time, it's also thanks to the Xbox console. We even have Sega using the same system as Microsoft, which means that from Sega Chihiro, which is the one running Outrun 2 Coast to Coast and the Xbox. Succeeding generation of Sega arcade system are based from Microsoft, which which is interesting because all the Sega arcade system are using Microsoft as the operating system. Namco Bandai has something similar, but they using Linux. And Taito Corporation, the same thing. They're using Linux. So it's thanks to Microsoft, we have a better arcade system, and other manufacturer also has the same approach. So thanks to them, we have a lot to thank for. Even though they started rough, but we're thankful that they did it. That's for me.
All right, now I want to hear Joe. Joe's opinion on the documentary.
Oh, okay. My opinion about the documentary. Okay. So it's this is one of those reasons why I'm so interested in gaming history. uh, I already said this before. Back in the early 2000s, I was so concentrating on my studies that I didn't really give much about, uh, or I didn't pay much attention about gaming at the time. So I know, I know PlayStation is there. I know Nintendo is there. I didn't realize another another console was out there, Xbox, until I saw it there in Capo. But anyway, um, humble beginnings. I read about that. Um, for the longest time, I knew that it was the project was started by four people from the lower ladder of the Microsoft company, and watching this documentary in full uh, gave me this sort of appreciation and respect. And at the same time, I'm a little bit saddened because whatever goodwill, whatever good intentions that they had from the very beginning, Xbox now became a victim of, or at least was consumed by the very industry, by the very gaming culture that they were trying to cater for. Eventually, corporate greed got hold of everything that was sacred to these guys. What Watching the documentary, they also mentioned how these people were brought in, and how these people show themselves out because of the either because of the ever dynamic changing of the times of the gaming industry, or something owning responsibility for what they thought was the best for the console going forward. um, and it also gave me this realization that if don't speak too soon. If your enemy is doing something stupid, careful, because you might end up doing the same thing. You know what I mean? Um, it happened with Nintendo and PlayStation. It happened with PlayStation. Now with Microsoft. You know, and even Sega. Let's throw Sega in there as well. There was a time, ladies and gentlemen, when we got Sega, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. Even for a brief moment of time, there were four. There were four. Okay, um, and with all of the news and the turmoil that we're hearing about Xbox right now, acquiring studios left and right, trying to get their own gaming exclusives, which was also covered in the documentary. That was a good hustle. Buying these gaming studios to make first party games for the Xbox. That was a good choice. That was a bold move. Anybody here can agree to that. But now, what's happening right now? They're closing said studios, right? And it wasn't just recently uh, when we reacted to uh, when we discussed the Xbox uh, showcase like a few weeks ago when they also announced the Xbox Ally ROG. We were all excited about that, and then we were like, "Oh shit, Xbox will be dominating later this year and maybe next year once this is out. Everything is coming out of the Xbox Game Pass and all that." Then a few days later, news: Microsoft laying off people, firing people, closing down studios, canceling out the games that they announced during the showcase. What the hell, right? Certain games that people were already so excited for. No, uh, corporate greed still. You know. Anyway, I and I don't know. I mean, I think it's a little bit foreboding because all the way to the last episode of Power On, they stop at the Xbox Series X. It's like they're. This is just a conspiracy theory in me. I feel like okay, we're doing a premature documentary, like what's that called, Sir Joel? Uh, like your autobiography, like you're already
Yeah,
you're doing
yeah,
a biography of yourself while you're
exactly,
still
exactly.
alive.
So kind of like an
They're,
autobiography. Yeah.
they're doing an autobiography because they know they're gonna end it with Xbox X. It
Pretty
kind of
much.
feels like that to me.
Yeah,
The,
pretty much.
I mean, once this generation will end with Xbox X and their ally.
The
Because
Ally
why?
handheld. Yeah.
Because like Sir Joel here, they will focus more on the Game Pass. They are making more money in the Game Pass anyway. What do we need the Xbox for? If all of these gamers can all access all of these games with their PC anyway, then what the hell do we need the Xbox for? Right? Xbox is losing us money out of uh on the races right now. It's either Nintendo. Nintendo is doing its own thing. We're battling out with Sony and Steam. Then and we're also partnering with Steam. We are sleeping with Steam anyway, right? Uh, there's no such thing as game exclusivity anymore. Everything's being shared. Well, Nintendo's not sharing because they have their own thing. But you know what I mean. So as long as they're getting their money, what do we're losing? We're hemorrhaging money with the Xbox devices. We're making good money with Game Pass. Why not just focus more on Game Pass, right? Back to you guys.
I think it's just goodwill towards the players and the people who have supported them all these years. I think, yeah, you can play these anywhere, but people don't want to play them anywhere. They want to play them on an Xbox console. That's why they're releasing the Xbox ROG Ally. That's why they're working currently on their next console. Because while they are going multi-platform and putting their games on other systems, not all of them yet are there, and people still want to own an Xbox. People still want to play on an Xbox. People are still in that ecosystem of being Xbox. So I think that's why they continue to make the consoles, because it's not like maybe, yeah, it is hurting them, but I think they still want to be there for the players like they were in the beginning and through the Red Ring issues and all that stuff. I think they want that goodwill towards them, and and it'll just make them extra money from having those console sales, because people will still buy it even though you can play it on other consoles. I think it's still going to be there. But to cheer up Sir JDM and Sir Joe, I got this for you.
There you go.
Uh,
A little bit closer. A little bit
Yes.
closer.
Okay.
There
Fine.
you go. There you go.
There you
That's
I
a
go.
can smell it
Morel
from
up.
here. Mm.
Like some upskirt right
Yeah.
there.
I love the upskirt. Yeah. Mm. Not enough upskirt. No, no. I mean, that's a very nice sentiment. What Sir Jose mentioned. I mean, I just hope somebody from the higher ups from Xbox would say the same thing out in the public. We're gonna keep continuing making the consoles because of you players. Okay. I mean, for all of the years that you stuck with us, this is the least that we could do. All right.
I mean, they have to because it's the new home for JRPGs. Had to bring it around.
Which they are not, unfortunately. That's why I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that slogan.
You'll see.
uh,
Sir Joel's with me. JDM's with me. Maybe even Sir Ryan.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's, well, let's just face it. If Game Pass actually does succeed and it becomes a platform that is available on all devices, TV, cell phones, PCs, tablets, whatnot, VR, I wouldn't be surprised if JRPG makers do decide to put a lot more of their games onto it. Might even
hey,
tap into the back catalog and put them up on Game Pass.
if you guys can convince Phil Spencer, sure.
Yeah. I mean, heck, the fact is, if Microsoft's long-term strategy does work, and it turns out that Microsoft Game Pass does become the gaming platform on all platforms, let's face facts. Sony is doing its very best to try to catch up right now, and Nintendo isn't even in the same league as these two right now. These two are duking it out. Sony is a distant second place. Nintendo, sure, they can say that they're doing their own thing, but if Microsoft succeeds in this, then Nintendo might actually have to consider putting some of their games onto Game Pass as well, if it becomes that ubiquitous. So JRPGs, I wouldn't put it off the table. I might even say that if the companies do realize the profit potential on it, they might tap into their backlog the same way that a lot of companies are doing right now and put their older games onto Game Pass as well in the future. I would put good money on it. Jose is doing an unboxing right now. Ah, there you go. He went for the Xbox Edition Meta Quest. I was thinking about
Meta.
getting that actually. Yes,
I
Jose
had
is showing
to.
off. Yeah.
I had to.
Mhm. It's the Meta Quest 3S Xbox Edition that Jose is showing off right now on screen. He did a very quick unboxing. It does look beautiful, doesn't it, Jose? It's got the black and green
It
Xbox theme to
does.
it.
It looks so
Yeah,
good.
it does. I have to admit, it looks really, really good. I'm very, very sorely tempted, and I think it's an exclusive too, right?
Yeah, and it's limited, so once they're
Mm-hmm.
gone, they're gone. And
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
can play your Game Pass games on it when you don't need
That's.
TV.
Mhm.
You literally could be
Can you,
sitting on the toilet taking a shit playing this.
Oh
can you play
yeah.
your can you play your JRPGs with that?
Yes,
I.
I can.
Mhm. I mean, I
Hmm.
think it has the capacity to. Does it have the capacity to run Steam on it yet?
You can run your Steam VR games on it,
That's it.
either through a cable or
Mhm.
wirelessly.
Exactly. So yes, once companies see the profit potential, sorry to say, Xbox is the new home for JRPGs. Hashtag
Hmm.
right there.
Says the
I will
guy
not.
who's represent. Says
I will not. I will not yet admit to that. I still have a lot more backlogs anyway, and I will. Okay, I will meet you guys halfway. I will
Mm.
only admit to that if you guys will be willing to play a one JRPG from the Xbox, and then we will do the episode. Xbox for
Challenge accepted.
JRPG
Yeah,
Xboxes.
Challenge accepted.
Oh,
There you go.
yeah. I will. The show just has to be far out enough that we beat the game because
Hmm.
JRPGs are pretty long.
Agree.
okay. I'm calling it now. That will be our season 16 episode finale.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Sounds
So
like a plan.
you got what 3 months.
Hmm. All right.
At
I
least.
think it's time to wrap it up then.
All right, that's our episode, guys. Concluding the power on the story of Xbox documentary. Like we said, it's 6 episodes long. 6 episodes. Total of at least 4 hours. in total if you're going to binge watch it. It's available on YouTube for free in the Xbox official channel. I think the only videos are just those six. No,
Yeah.
nothing else really. It's like, I mean, like I said, it's like Xbox is trying to tell us something. Xbox is trying to tell us something, ladies and gentlemen. And you know
Mhm.
what? Uh, let's do our shameless plugs. Let's start with Sir JDM. Where can they touch your grass?
The usual place 123 Go Retro in Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And I just noticed I'm representing the Xbox, and Sergio is representing the company that he disgust most with the red Nintendo. And yeah, so check out the website as well, timelessgamers.com.
All right, thank you for that, Sir JDM. FUN. How about Sir Richard? Where can they touch your grass?
Well, the usual. They can check me out in Facebook, which is the same name displayed on the screen, and of course, Timeless Gamer Show, which is eventually I'll be a regular here, especially when it comes to uh, technical specs or issues, upcoming issues for the gaming
Mm,
community. So don't worry, I'll be
mhm.
there.
Nice.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Richard. And about Sir Joel, where can they touch your grass?
All right, you can always find me here on the Timeless Gamer Show, unless life gets in the way. You can also see me streaming on Kick, on Twitch, and on Rumble, doing a variety of games from modern games to retro games. Hashtag FUFB, never again. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little presentation of ours that delves into the history of Microsoft and particularly Power On, the documentary about the development of the Xbox. Back to you, Joe.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Joel. And of course, the show director for tonight, Sir Jose, where can they touch your grass?
Let's see. I'm on all social medias and all gaming platforms as Dark Gothic Fate. I've been recently posting some videos of off-stream gameplay of stuff I've been doing. You can see those on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Jose. And again, just hawking it out there. The website www.timelessgamers.com, email timelessgamers.show at gmail.com for all of your comments, messages, insults, advice, whatever.
Death threats.
Send it to those. um, our affiliates, of course, BitMap Books and Streamyard. All of their links are right there down below on the description box. And that's it, guys. Thank you all so much. And in behalf of Sir Viraj, who couldn't be here because of his internet connections, way too much
Mhm.
porn sites going on in
Yeah.
these tabs.
Yeah.
PNP
Also,
sucks.
if you want to send, if you're a male of age and you want to send nudes, we will sure that Viraj will
uh,
get those.
we will
We we
we
will
will
make a
send it his way.
collage. We will make a collage of it.
To make it look his face. All right. Thank you all. Thank you guys so much. And that's the show. Our games and our bodies may grow out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain. Hey,
Timeless.
I'm up.
Timeless. All right. Enjoy the weekend, guys. See you again next week. Bye for now.